This is Zadra. It's the world's tallest hybrid roller coaster. You can find it at Energylandia, the largest theme park in Poland. Zadra stands a massive 63 meters, 206 feet high, has a top speed of 121 kilometers per hour, 75 miles per hour, and features a steep 90-degree drop. That's all impressive, right? But it's not even the most unique thing about it. Zadra was in fact partially funded by you, if you live in the European Union that is. The ride cost 61.5 million zloty to build, which was about 14.5 million euro at the time. Roughly 1/3 of that price tag was paid for by a grant from the European Union. So, your taxes might have indirectly paid to build the world's tallest hybrid roller coaster. Pretty neat, huh? Anyway, more on that later. Let's talk about the ride. Zadra is a hybrid roller coaster. The vast majority of its structure is made from wood, whilst the track is steel, creating a unique, smooth yet thrilling experience. Don't let the wooden look fool you though, this ride is thrilling. It subjects you to 3 inversions, including an extended zero-G stall. Who doesn't love the feeling of being upside down for a prolonged period of time? The ride's height, its hybrid nature, and unique elements all help to make it one of the best roller coasters not just in Poland or even Europe, but the world. So, how did Zadra come to be? Well, that's an even more interesting story, crammed with failure, rapid expansion, and you guessed it, even more free money from the European Union. So, let's go back, all the way to the beginning. Theme parks in some shape or form have been around for, well, ages. Bakken in Denmark is currently the world's oldest still operating theme park, first opening its doors in 1583. Though it didn't have any roller coasters back then, the idea of them hadn't actually even been invented. Since its debut, Bakken and many other theme parks across the world have expanded rapidly. Today, these visitor attractions are a huge draw of tourism, so much so that entire cities have become known for them. Just look at Orlando in Florida, home to 4 Disney theme parks, 2 Universal parks, soon to be 3, a SeaWorld, 2 fun spots, and a whole myriad of others, including a separate list of water parks. Essentially, theme parks are popular. Even outside of the big names like Disney and Universal, they're still found all the way across the globe. The UK has Alton Towers, Germany Europa Park, Japan Fuji-Q Highland, and the USA Cedar Point. All of these places attract millions of guests each year without the big Disney or Universal budget. For a while though, there was one country that specifically lacked a major theme park of its own, Poland. That's not to say that Poland didn't have theme parks. It did, just smaller ones that focused on attracting local people nearby. With a population of approximately 38 million, there were attempts to build a large-scale park close to the nation's capital, Warsaw. These plans ranged from random investment groups in Turkey and the Netherlands to Michael Jackson in the late 1990s. All of these attempts ultimately ended with failure. People kept trying though. In 2010 and 2011, a further 2 parks were proposed for the Warsaw region, and both were eventually cancelled. Fortunately, this didn't stop Marek Gozel from having a go too. From a young age, Gozel wanted to operate his own business. His first venture was a disco, which grew into Energy 2000, one of the largest club chains in Poland. He kept investing in new things. Gozel went into developing shoe soles, which proved unsuccessful. However, during this, he travelled to Italy to meet several clients. There, he took his wife and children to Gardaland, Italy's largest theme park. During their visit, his children apparently asked why there wasn't a theme park like Gardaland back in Poland. Being an ideas man, this sparked Gozel's interest. He began researching the industry, visiting multiple theme parks, and learning what was required to build and operate one. He quickly stumbled across a problem. New rides are expensive, like millions upon millions of dollars expensive. The solution? Seek financing elsewhere. Poland is part of the European Union, a political and economic union of 27 member states that are located primarily in, well, Europe. In 2007, Poland became eligible to access funding from the European Union's cohesion policy. At the time, this aimed to reduce the economic and social discrepancies between countries, areas, and regions across the Union. Gozal applied for co-financing from the European Union in 2009 and successfully obtained 42 million zloty for his new amusement park, roughly equivalent to 10 million euro at the time. With the idea and funding in place, the next step was to figure out where to build the park. He wanted a large area, somewhere near Krakow and Katowice. Gozal discovered a plot of land on the western side of Zator, a Polish town well known for its carp. Interestingly, there was already an amusement park in Zator, Zatorland. Marek managed to persuade Zatorland that Zator could support 2 parks, and his one would help to make the town an amusement destination. So, on the 14th of July 2014, Energylandia, Poland's newest theme park, opened to guests. At the time, the park was relatively small. It had a handful of attractions, including 3 small roller coasters. This didn't last for long, however. It was always Gozal's intention to expand Energylandia to make it a destination park, one that attracts visitors not just from Poland, but from abroad too. To help with this, the park acquired more funding. They received a second round of financing from the European Union to create physical sensations in the virtual reality. Basically, they were paid to produce VR experiences on real-world roller coasters. To do this, Energylandia built more roller coasters. So, with a small subsidy of 34 million zloty, 8 million euro, not 1, not 2, but 3 new roller coasters opened to guests in 2015. This included a new thrilling addition, Roller Coaster Mayan, a suspended looping coaster by Vekoma. Ultimately, in just a single year, the park had doubled the number of roller coasters on offer to guests and stepped into the thrill market for the first time. But Energylandia did not stop there. In 2016, they worked with Vekoma again to open a second thrill coaster, Formula. The ride became the park's first launch coaster, accelerating from 79 km per hour, 49 miles per hour in just 2 seconds. By this point, the park's visitor numbers had risen from just 250,000 in 2014 to 1 million in 2016. But Energylandia did not stop there either. 2017 would be another big year for the park, with the addition of 3 family roller coasters. Now they had 10 roller coasters. But Energylandia did not stop there either. 2018 came with more thrill rides on an unprecedented scale. First, Speed, an Intamin water coaster, and second, Hyperion, a new mega coaster built by Intamin, open to guests. Rising 77 meters, 253 feet tall, the ride dominates one side of the park and stands as Poland's tallest, fastest, and longest roller coaster. From this point on, Energylandia was firmly on the theme park map. But they did not stop there either. Theme parks are always looking to one-up each other. Energylandia wanted to one-up themselves. How do you build a ride better than the tallest, fastest, and longest in your country? Well, first you get another grant from the European Union, this time for 20 million zloty, 4.7 million euro. Then you build Zadra, of course. Actually, you build more than Zadra. You build something unique to Energylandia, a brand new themed area. In October of 2018, the park announced the introduction of their new themed land, Smoksy Grod, aka Dragon Castle. The entire area takes inspiration from Lord of the Rings and The Witcher, designed around the medieval Gothic aesthetic featuring castle ruins. Prior to this, Energylandia didn't really have defined themed lands. There were areas of the park, known as zones, but they weren't really coherent. Even the current Extreme Zone, which simply features their more thrilling rides, is scattered entirely across the main section of the park. The icing on the cake of this new themed area was of course Zadra, which translates from Polish to Splinter, a hybrid roller coaster built by Rocky Mountain Construction, RMC. Like Energylandia, RMC is fairly young. The company originally began life in 2011, upgrading old wooden roller coasters. They're known for replacing a ride's wooden track with steel iBox track making it taller, faster, and more thrilling in the process. RMC's own progression culminated in the debut of Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point in 2018, which was the tallest, fastest, and longest hybrid roller coaster in the world at the time. Naturally, Energylandia wanted their ride to be bigger and better. Zadra would stand 63 meters, 206 feet tall, have a drop angle of 90 degrees, and feature a top speed of 121 km per hour, 57 miles per hour. At the time, this made it the world's tallest and fastest hybrid roller coaster. Unlike RMC's previous rides, however, Zadra wasn't an upgrade of an existing roller coaster. It became the company's first iBox tracked roller coaster to be built entirely from the ground up. Therefore, they weren't confined to an existing layout, but instead free to imagine any roller coaster they wanted. With the plan for a 2020 debut, construction began right away. In December of 2018, the ride had begun to go vertical, with supports being lifted into place. This was followed just 2 months later with the arrival of the ride's track. All was going well until, well, it wasn't. On the night of the 10th of March 2019, huge gusts of wind swept through the area with speeds of up to 110 km per hour, 68 miles per hour. The high winds caused part of the ride's supports to collapse, damaging them in the process. The next day, the park announced they'd begun clearing up the supports and that their intended 2020 opening was not at risk. At the same time as Zadra, another RMC roller coaster was also being built in Europe, Untamed at Walibi Holland in the Netherlands. By the end of May 2019, the construction of Untamed had finished. Some of the construction staff from Untamed moved to help build Zadra, expanding the size of the team. All of this meant that the final piece of track was installed on the 22nd of July, the trains were first placed on the track on the 5th of August, testing began on the 15th of August, and on the 19th of August, an official opening date was given. Just 3 days later, on the 22nd of August 2019, Zadra officially opened to guests, well ahead of its intended 2020 debut. So, what does a ride on this record-breaking roller coaster actually look like? Well, first you enter the dragon-themed area of the park, home to a dark ride, monorail ride, and a family roller coaster. Then, you walk through the ride's castle-themed entrance building and begin to navigate the incredibly long queue line. By incredibly long, I mean incredibly long, like 5-minute walk long. Yeah. Once towards the end, you're greeted by a set of lockers to store your loose items before the ride. Then, it's time to head up to the station. Once there, you see the dragon-themed ride vehicle comprised of 6 cars, each of which seats 4 riders in 2 rows of 2 for a total of 24 guests per train. Once boarded, you fasten your seatbelt, pull down your lap bar, and the ride begins. The trains go down a small dip to the right towards the lift hill. It's here you climb over 200 feet high, gaining fantastic panoramic views of the park and the nearby countryside. At the top, you're met with that terrifying 90-degree drop. The trains then plummet towards the ground through part of the ride structure. You then speed through a bunny hill to the right before entering a huge upward left-hand turn. The train dives towards the ground once again, only to climb into Zadra's first inversion, its zero-G stall. There, you hang upside down for what seems like minutes. This is quickly followed by a long left-hand turn, a whip to the right, and a series of turns into a huge airtime hill. Losing no speed, the train then enters its second inversion, a zero-G roll, which directs you back towards the ground. The ride comes to an end with a series of airtime hills, a snappy S-hill to the right, and one final zero-G roll taking you towards the brakes. During your ride, you've managed to navigate most of the 1,316 meter, 4,318 foot long layout in just 47 seconds, measured from the top of the lift hill to the final brake run. Despite the relatively short ride time, Zadra is not short. It measures within the top 10% of the longest thrill coasters in the world. What makes the experience brief is the relentless speed. The ride does not slow down, the elements come one after another in quick succession. It's no surprise that Zadra has been well received, very well received. Many claim it to be one of the best roller coasters in Europe. It's ranked as the 4th best roller coaster on Earth, according to the largest annual roller coaster poll, Vote Coasters. Zadra's design is also unlike most other rides built by Rocky Mountain Construction. where Cedar Point Steel Vengeance aims to subject its riders to as much airtime as possible for as long as possible, Zadra aims for a shorter but snappier approach. The quick turns, rapid fire elements, and consistently high speed change the experience entirely. Other RMC roller coasters have since been inspired by this design, including Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa, widely considered to be one of, if not the, best roller coaster in the world. Even after Hyperion, Zadra was a home run for Energylandia. The ride brought the park to the attention of a global audience. Since then, Energylandia has continued this momentum. They've built a further 2 roller coasters, including a multi-launch coaster, Abyssus. Plus, a further 3 are in the works. As of 2023, Energylandia has 17 roller coasters, the 4th most of all theme parks in the world. After their proposed expansion, they'll be tied for first, with 20. In less than a decade, this seemingly random theme park in Poland has managed to expand so rapidly to become home to some of the best roller coasters on the continent and even the world. If that's just 1 decade, who knows what Energylandia will look like in another 2 or 3. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.